folks, Nathan Adlin here with
Andrei Smirnov.
And we have a special episode of TFL's By the Numbers with the 2017 Nissan Rogue Hybrid.
Yep, but this is a special TFL by the numbers because not only are we going to give you the specifications, but we're also going to discuss the compact crossover segment because it's red hot.
There are a lot of changes that have happened recently, and you guys are going to see these changes very soon.
So, for 2017, the Rogue gets a complete refresh. The front end, the interior, the rear taillights, and most importantly, it gets a hybrid model.
Yeah, now this is not what you would call a hybrid model that's similar to, say, what the Toyota RAV4. This is sort of its own independent version.
Yeah, so here are the numbers. It has a 2-liter inline gasoline engine, not the 2.5 in a regular Rogue. The gas motor puts out 141 horsepower, 144 pound-feet of torque, but it's supplemented by the electric motor with 40 horsepower and 118 pound-feet of torque. That sounds like a lot of torque.
Yeah, there's a lot of torque, and we actually had an opportunity to briefly drive this off-road, and that was the one thing about it. It had a really good torque curve.
Net power is 176 horsepower. Usually manufacturers don't state the total torque on a hybrid vehicle, and part of the reason is because to get the real torque measurement, you have to do it at the axles, which is not how torque's been measured throughout history.
Right, and that's a real issue, but at the same time, that's just what we have to deal with in terms of lack of numbers.
But how does the hybrid Rogue compare to the regular one? Basically, it's the same vehicle as far as the interior, but you're losing about 1 cubic feet of cargo space with the rear seats up because
that's where the battery is, but it's more than that. This is an interesting vehicle because unlike a lot of other hybrids that are out there, it still has a spare tire and it has a little bit of cargo room under a small hatch. So you can actually get to the small cargo area underneath and you can get to your tire, and there's also a nifty little Bose subwoofer that's inside the tire, which a lot of cars have. But then you look forward and you can actually see where the batteries go.
Let's look at the fuel economy numbers. So the Rogue regular one versus the hybrid one. By the way, this car is so new, the EPA hasn't rated it yet.
Yeah, there's nothing official.
And there is no pricing on this.
No pricing either.
So that's coming up very soon. But Nissan projects that combined MPG for the hybrid Rogue will be 33 versus 28 on an all-wheel drive regular Rogue.
Which is still really damn good. We recently drove one into the Rockies, and both of us were really surprised with how flexible that vehicle was and how good the mileage was.
But here's my impressions. Usually we don't do impressions on By the Numbers.
Yeah.
But here's my impressions. I've spent a few days with the hybrid Rogue, and I think the hybrid system is not quite, there's not enough electricity in it. And by that I mean there is not a big electric mode. So the engine is always coming on when I accelerate to provide propulsion. So unlike the RAV4 where you have a mile or two where you could actually use some usable electric mode, this is not the case with the Rogue.
That's right. And there are a lot of other hybrid vehicles out there that also have all battery mode or all electric mode. And another thing to consider, another thing that's interesting is that unlike the RAV4, this vehicle actually has a driveshaft and it has a rear diff. So it's a regular Nissan Rogue in that respect, but it also has a little bit of electronic assist, and I think that's really what it is.
Yeah, and I averaged about 31.2 mpgs in my driving over a few days, which is respectable. And finally, I just wanted to go over the entire compact crossover segment because it's very competitive.
It is one of the most competitive now.
It's very popular.
Extremely popular.
The Rogue is now the best-selling vehicle in Nissan's fleet.
This actually recently surpassed the Nissan Altima in terms of year-to-date and monthly sales.
Yeah, that's crazy. And they're all trying to be more and more efficient. Hence the hybrid version here. RAV4 has a hybrid.
That's right.
That starts at around $30,000. And I think the Rogue is going to undercut it just by a bit.
Which is what Rogue's been doing for a while with RAV4. They've been going underneath the price, which is of course making it, well, a lot more competitive price-wise. But there are a lot of other players out there, and they're doing some really extraordinary things. Here's an example. You've got the Honda CR-V, which now has a 1.5 liter turbocharged engine, which should be more efficient than the engine it replaces. We're not allowed to tell you that officially until after the 30th
Okay.
of November. And then you've got other vehicles which are supposedly going to be getting diesel engines. We thought diesels were dead.
Yep.
But it sounds like the automakers who have been putting a lot of money behind them are going to put them in there. And the example is Mazda. They're talking about putting a diesel in the CX-5. Now, they were about to join the diesel game in the North American market, but then they pulled it back at the last moment.
Right.
Now they're saying they're coming back, and it was official, it was on their website. Another automaker,
Is a Chevrolet Equinox for 2018. It's an all-new vehicle, and they are promising a diesel, turbo diesel engine in that as well. But you know what? I've been a little skeptical on Mazda and Chevy because Chevy wanted to do a new Cruze with a diesel,
Right.
and then pulled out. So I will believe it when I see it.
Yeah, right now diesels, look, we know from experience that diesels have great torque, great power, and are efficient. However, because of Volkswagen and certain things that have happened recently, a lot of people are being very careful about how they're portraying their diesels and what the numbers actually are. So I have a feeling that Mazda and some other companies said, well, you know, we've got something good, maybe we're going to go for it again, which can help their overall CAFE numbers in the States.
So there you go, 2017 Nissan Rogue Hybrid by the numbers. And go back to tflcar.com for more news, views, and
Real world reviews. See you next time.
thanks.